Okay, it is March 30th, 2020. It is a Monday, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Alrighty, it's been a couple weeks since my last episode, and a lot has freaking happened. Yeah, my last episode, it kind of focused on the coronavirus situation, and shit escalated pretty quickly. Like, just a couple of days after I posted that last episode, the entire state of California has been put on a shelter-in-place order. So, for people outside of California and New York and some of those other hot spots, yeah, this shit's getting serious. Like, I know in the last episode I was downplaying it, but I am not even gonna call it downplaying it because I feel like everybody, including the government, is completely and utterly overreacting. And I'm gonna stick by that because I read every fucking day. Like literally over an hour every day of the most random shit. And honestly, I've been looking into this. Um, I'm not afraid of this damn virus. And I honestly feel like all this crap going on, like the shelter in place order, all these businesses shutting down, this is gonna be far worse than the coronavirus ever could. Um, that I'm just gonna leave with that. That's what this whole episode is gonna be about. Because literally, there's like nothing else to talk about. Sporting events got canceled. Freaking can't go outside here in California. The city I live in now, they've even gone as far as closing down the parks. So not only can I not go to the gym, which is like usually my go-to for relieving stress, I can't even go to the park to work out. And they got like a trail that kind of goes through. It's like a green. They call it like a green belt, where it's just a trail that kind of just surrounded by trees and it's pretty, it's naturey, and it goes through the center of town. They're even blocking that. They got like cops posted at the entrances of these walkways, telling people they can't go there and go home. There were a bunch of fucking kids on curfew or something. Like, if this ain't martial law, this is the closest thing I've ever seen to martial law in my lifetime. And this is the closest we've gotten to martial law probably since freaking World War II. Um, so it's getting fucking ridiculous. Like, luckily, I just want to state that I'm still going to work. The job I worked at is considered an essential business. So I'm essential, folks. Sorry, I'm still working while the rest of y'all are bored at home. But yeah, I made time to still post this podcast. So I'm not that busy. Once I get off work, I'm literally same boat as the rest of y'all. Can't go do anything I want to do. Can't go to the gym. Can't go to the movies. Even go to the store to get stuff. It's like certain stores only let a certain amount of people in at a time. Starting to ration what they got. I'm literally on my last roll of toilet paper. I got like half a roll left, and I thought I had one more, but I checked it underneath my sink, and I was like, fuck, this is my last roll. So I'm counting squares every time I go to the bathroom. I am hitting up people at work, and, I feel like I'm in prison. I'm trying to trade people, shit I got for some damn toilet paper. But, yeah, I'll update y'all later on that. I might have to resort to napkins for a bit. But, yeah, that's how fucking ridiculous this is. I mean, like, this, ever since this shelter in order place got put for the entire fucking state, just everybody's been more freaked out. Like, even, I'm grateful to go to work. But when I show up, everybody's wearing masks. They're literally checking our temperature as soon as we enter the building. Certain parts of the building that like I can't even go in unless I'm wearing a mask. And I'm kind of sick of it. Like, I'm just kind of sick of all the fear, all the uneducated, uninformed people walking around spreading all this fear-based information. I'm sick of the fucking news, not researching what they're putting out there. They're literally telling people, like, if you watch the news, a lot of news stations are kind of giving the common sense tips, like wash your hands, keep your distance, all that stuff. But there's a lot of them telling people to go get their flu shot. Are you fucking kidding? Like, they even state on those same clips that, hey, there is no vaccine for the coronavirus flu, and the current flu shot won't help you with it, but you know what? You should go get it anyways. So yeah, let's just send all these people that don't need to be at the hospital to the hospital where the hot spots are and just get more people sick. All right. And let's give them a strain of virus that will weaken their immune system because what a lot of people don't realize is when you take vaccines, your immune system is kept busy handling that vaccine. So if you take a vaccine for one type of sickness, you're literally making yourself more vulnerable to other sicknesses. That's just common fucking sense. And the fact that they're telling people to go out and get their flu shot anyways is the most ignorant fucking thing you can do in public health right now. Like, it just blows my fucking mind the idiots we got in the fucking government, all these public health officials with their fucking expert advice, not thinking that through and telling people to go get their flu shot anyways. Like, I'm already on the fence about the normal flu shot anyways, but now you're gonna go tell me to go do it when there's this other, more supposedly more dangerous strain of the flu out there? Like, what's the fucking point? It's, oh my god, it's, yeah, I don't know if you could tell. I'm starting to get really irritated. Like, it's getting frustrating walking around and just having that shit in my face all the time. Everywhere you go, coronavirus this, coronavirus that. They stopped calling it coronavirus, mainly because I don't know if Corona beer got upset and it's like you guys are, eating at our sales with all this shit. So start calling it COVID-19. Like whenever it's not just this instance, but whenever like something's been talked about in the news and the news media is noticing that like the name they gave that particular subject isn't holding up well, they start calling it something else. Like climate change. We didn't call it climate change for the longest. It used to be called global warming, but global warming sounds like fucking apocalyptic kind of fucking scenario. Well, climate change seems a little less end of the worldy. So they started using that. No one noticed it, but over time they started calling it climate change instead of global warming. And they're doing that with this stupid virus. Because when you call it coronavirus, I think people weren't taking it serious enough. So we call it a fancy name, COVID-19, to, I don't know, just to fucking get to people better, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know. That's like I want to talk about so many other things, but I feel like I just need to rant about this real quick, get it off my chest. um, yeah, it's crazy. Like I've been talking to people outside of the state. I got a buddy that lives in Nevada that hit me up the other day, and he's asking me how I was doing, and he lives in Reno, so he's not that far from California, but little different. They're told to do that social distancing, but they're not doing this mandatory shelter in place, face mask everywhere you go bullshit. Like, I don't know. My honest to God opinion is that this is purposely being overblown to cover up the fact that the economy is about to go in a recession. I was kind of following this before the coronavirus. I've been following the economy for about a year now. And when I mean following, I mean really digging into like the science of how economies work, what you should really expect. Like most people don't realize that we were heading toward a recession anyways. We're kind of overdue for a recession. And it is normal. Recessions are normal in a healthy economy. Like when you step back and look at how things are supposed to happen, economies are supposed to, kind of go up. They're supposed to expand. And then shit kind of cools down. And then you have a slight recession to kind of get rid of the deadwood in the economy, like the companies that aren't working, the industries that aren't making money. They die off. They make room for new industries and new businesses. And then you get another boom. And it's a cycle. It's always been like that. It's not fucking new. All right. We have a long history documenting this is how economies work. But here in America, everything's fucking topsy-turvy because we should have had a recession already. But the way our government functions and the way our economy's been rigged is the federal government has prolonged our turn into a recession longer than it should have. And what I mean by that is the Federal Reserve has been pumping money into the economy to offset a recession. I'm really oversimplifying it, and I could spend a whole hour just talking about this, but I'm gonna be doing a video on it to get more in depth. But the nutshell fucking explanation is that our economy was already heading into a recession. But with this whole coronavirus nonsense, it's like they've literally found the perfect scapegoat like the Federal Reserve, Trump, anybody in government right now that doesn't want to take blame for a bad economy, they found the perfect scapegoat for why the economy is about to take a shit. It is perfect because with all these businesses closing, they're going to be like, oh, we had to close the economy down. We had to shut all those businesses. We had to tell people not to go to work because of their health and safety. No one's going to question it. They're going to think it's a common sense move, and they're going to see the economy as an after effect of this virus. But in reality, no, our economy has been heading down this fucking cliff for years, and they've literally been keeping it afloat with inflation. And what I mean by inflation, I mean inflation not like how much consumers are paying, not consumer inflation, but asset inflation. This is a lot of terms I'm throwing at people that are not familiar with it. But in a nutshell, the real value of stuff has been staying the same or been getting less valuable over the past couple of decades. But stocks have been going through the roof ever since 2008, and like the government bailed out all these big industries. Real economy, the real people working and getting jobs, that hasn't made a much improvement at all. Sure, unemployment went down, but it's not that people got all their old jobs back. It's people are working 2, 3 jobs to make the same amount of money their old one job used to make. You know, it's twisted. Like statistics are very misleading because they could say unemployment's at an all-time low and make you feel like the economy is doing great, but in reality the numbers are just hiding the fact that jobs are harder to come by and people have to settle for shittier jobs, and they have to settle, you know, for things like Uber and takeout stuff where you got to, you know, like those apps that pretty much you're like self-employed almost trying to make ends meet. Like those apps and those businesses wouldn't be doing half as good if you didn't have so many people in this country looking for extra income. Because if this economy was as strong as they're trying to make it seem, everybody would have a full-time job. They wouldn't need that side income. All right. But no one looks at it like that. They only look at the numbers and what they're told. So everybody's convinced that we have a great economy, and we really don't. So this whole coronavirus shit is literally, I feel, I know there's going to be plenty of people that disagree only because they don't look into this stuff as much as I do. But look, guys, it's all horse shit. It's fucking horse shit. And this whole them stimulus package, whenever you hear stimulus package, which is what they called all that money they dumped into the economy a decade ago, that all that is taking money that the government doesn't have. They print it. They don't have this money. We're in debt. The government has no money. What they do is they don't pull from their savings account that they have because no one saves anymore. The Federal Reserve literally authorizes itself because we're the leading currency in the world and we're the only country that can do this. We print more money. Well, maybe we're not the only country that can do it, but we get away with it more because all the other economies in the world are tied to the dollar. So America can literally just keep printing dollar bills and inflate and try to like inflate our way out of the problem. And what the government does with stimulus packages is they literally print more money. They loan it out to people that are in debt, or yeah, like the last stimulus package they gave to like all the big auto companies like GM and Ford and all that. I don't know if Ford took it, but I know GM did. And those are billions of dollars are given to the corporations, not the people that got laid off, but the corporations. All right. The whole point of a recession is when a recession hits, if that company can't stay above water, then it deserves to die. Not the people, but the company itself. Because what happens is when that company goes under, then it frees up all those employees. New industries take up that slack, and those people find jobs in those new industries. The transition sucks, and I get it, but it's a necessary part of every economy. Every time there's a recession, industries are supposed to go under. New ones are supposed to take their place over the next few years. That's where innovation comes in. That's where younger, brighter, better ideas come into that workplace. But we're not doing that anymore. We're literally a society waiting for the government handout. That's literally what America is today. We are literally waiting for the government to print more money to cover up our shitty businesses so we can keep going along with this. That stimulus package of 2008 didn't solve anything. It just prolonged the problem. It just pushed this recession back a decade or so. And they've been doing it ever since. They never talk about it in the news, but you can look it up for yourself. The Federal Reserve, months leading up before this coronavirus business, has been pumping tens of billions of dollars into the economy to make the stock prices shoot up, to make it and give the impression that the economy is doing good. Now, people could get political and blame this all on Trump and say this is all Trump's doing, but that would be unfair because this has been going on before Trump. This has been going on since before the turn of the decade. It's just the recession of 2008 and the recession we're about to hit right now. These are just symptoms of a problem that started way back in the 70s. The moment Nixon took us off the gold standard and our money was no longer tied to gold, this was bound to happen. Yeah, they might have done it in the middle of the Cold War to try to get an edge, but it's caught up to us. All right, it's caught up to our societies, caught up to our economy. It was gonna happen eventually, but now the people responsible for it, all those fucking big wig smart guys in government, all these economists that get Nobel Prizes for a fucking science is not a real science. Yeah, they're giving Nobel Prizes to economists, which isn't even a real fucking science. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They play with these numbers and they give you these graphs and they tell you, hey, it's only up from here. But history shows that that's not how economies work. Economy is a fluid, alive organism almost, and it responds to people. All right? You can't. Economies only go under when governments get involved. Like when recessions go through a pure capitalistic society, which America is not. Everybody thinks America is like the only capitalist country left. Bullshit. We are more socialist than people realize. And this whole shelter in place bullshit is just a perfect example of how socialist we already are. The fact that the government issued this order and everybody's doing it without question shows you how brainwashed Americans are today. They're taking it without, there's no one protesting this. Yeah, you got all those spring breakers in Florida and LA going out to, party anyways. But I could just be seen as adolescents. And that's not a real protest, all right? There should be people like, you know what? It's the fear of this fucking imaginary, I'm not saying it's imaginary, but this blown out of proportion fucking situation we're in. Yes, this virus exists, but the way the media is portraying it is making it seem like it's the end of the fucking world. And they're doing it because, one, it causes fear, which means people are watching more news than ever when they should really be turning that shit off. Two, it sets the narrative that the health officials are in check and that the government is going to solve this problem by telling everybody to stay home. So there's two fucking problems with this that I have. One is that the information's wrong. This virus is not the worst thing that's ever happened. You look at the statistics, it's not nearly as deadly as SARS, yet it is more widespread, I'll give them that. But it's not the most widespread virus ever. I mean, obviously the common cold and the normal flu are still, I keep talking to people about this and they're convinced. Everybody I talk to is convinced that this virus is super deadly and it's super contagious and all of these precautions were taken are totally justified. But none of those people, none of them research it. They literally only go off what other people tell them and what the news says. No one looks into this shit. And it's kind of I'm getting sick of it. People really need to stop and look at the numbers. I was looking up other causes of death. Annual causes of death. There's 30,000 deaths by gun every year in America alone. That's 30,000. You're more likely to get shot than catch this virus and die from it. Two, there's over 1 million car accidents every year that are fatal. That's not even including the ones that are just bumpers. Over 1 million car accidents, over 1 million deaths every year from car accidents alone. So all those people driving to work, you guys are more at risk driving 10 miles to work than you are of catching this damn virus. It's when you line up all the reasons you could die, coronavirus is at the bottom of the fucking list. But yet the way the media has its grip on the psyche of America is literally bypassing people's logic and getting directly into their psyche and causing that fear and making people act irrationally. I was reading this article from a doctor, someone that's actually qualified to talk about this. And he wasn't like a medical doctor. He was a psychoanalyst, someone that studies how people think and stuff like that. And he was asked about this whole pandemic, like how people were acting, like what was his take on it, right? And I don't know, this is like a couple weeks ago. He was shocked. He was kind of, well, he wasn't shocked. He was more just kind of like, it's kind of ridiculous. He can tell just from how people are acting that no one is acting rationally. He was like the whole toilet paper thing. Why is that the first thing that ran out? Like when I'm thinking of things I'm gonna need in a post-apocalyptic world, it's food, water, and a gun, and shelter. And then maybe medical supplies. Like literally toilet paper is like not even on my top 10 list. I mean, it probably should be. But I mean, you can make toilet paper, rip some leaves off the fucking trees and shit, like rub your ass in the grass. Like there's different ways of doing that. So why the fuck was toilet paper the first thing that like got taken? And he was, well, it's because people are acting irrationally. He's like, the part of the brain that triggers fear is not a rational part of the brain. It literally triggers an action response for people to just do without think. So right when the coronavirus news started hitting and the fear started building up within society, people started acting. They weren't stopping to think. The fear was there, so they started to act. And it's irrational when the supplies they're buying up are things that have nothing to do with the fucking virus. Like, people are buying literally, well, at the beginning, they were stocking up on so much toilet paper, they wouldn't have to go back to the store for toilet paper for months. Even though the original projections were 2 weeks to a month, maybe all summer long, you'll have to be shelter in place. But people are buying toilet paper for this year and next year. It's like, why are people not stopping to think that maybe that's too much? Maybe I don't need this much. There's nowhere them telling us that we'd be locked up this long. Why did they do that? And the fact that, if this was like a sickness that gave you diarrhea, then yeah, that the toilet paper thing would make a little bit more sense. But like nothing in this sickness has anything to do with your bowel movements. So why are they rushing to the store to get more of this paper? It's irrational, all right? People are not thinking in their right minds. I think it's groupthink. If you've never heard that term, groupthink is a real phenomenon where if enough people are thinking it, whether it's logical or illogical, someone that doesn't have a strong opinion will side with what the group is saying. It's a psychological thing of going with the flow. Like if I guess an easy example would be if you walk into a room and you look around and no one's saying anything and it's super quiet, but there's like no signs or anything saying that you have to be quiet, chances are you'll probably keep your voice down because something's telling you that everybody is quiet for that reason. All right? There's no sign saying be quiet. There's no sign saying keep the noise down. Chances are most likely you will keep it quiet because you see everybody else doing it. All right? People are like, well, that's common sense to a degree. It's common sense to a degree if you really stop and think about it. Why is everybody quiet? Well, I mean, in my particular example, maybe just no one had anything to say. Doesn't mean you're not allowed to go in there and say hi to somebody. It's just a psychological thing that people are not paying attention to. Now, you take that same concept and apply it on society as a whole. If you go on TV and hear about this virus, and then you go on social media, listen to all the idiots that are scared and making it worse, if you have no opinion one way or the other how bad it is, you're going to side with what everybody else is saying. So it's kind of like a domino effect of you get enough people scared, you're going to get everybody scared. And when everybody's fucking scared, no one's thinking logically. And then you have all these idiots in government and just different parts of society making these, oh, everybody stay home. Everybody wear a mask. Everybody wear all the hand sanitizer. Hey, I got to buy all this toilet paper. Like all of these things are illogical when you stop and look at the actual problem. So, it's crazy what fear will do to people, And the thing that really irritates me is every time I hear the news or read an article on it, the thing I'm not seeing is all the common sense things you could be doing. Like the only thing they're promoting is washing your hands, covering your mouth, and staying away from each other. It's like the three main things, the three main pieces of advice that our public health officials are telling the public, and what government officials are repeating, and what celebrities and people on TV with a career are also regurgitating, because they are going with what the supposed experts are saying to do. Everybody's like, well, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a public health official. What do I know about my own health? Let me go with what these people are saying. These people I've never met. Just people whose credentials I don't know where they got it from. They just have doctor in front of their name, so they must know what they're talking about. They just give them their trust with their own life and welfare and just go along with what they say. And we've been doing that as a society for a while, but we're at this part where people who have this thing in your pocket called a cell phone, which connects to the internet, which means you can literally look up and educate yourself on these topics, and you will come to find out that, hey, not everything they're saying in TV is accurate. Not everything they're saying on social media and stuff is completely correct. Some of it's taken out of context, some of it is exaggerated, and a lot of it is a fucking assumption. All right? People can't tell the difference. We put all those graphs. I keep seeing these stupid ass graphs where it's like a really like, what would happen if no health measures were taken? It's like, it's the government's way of justifying a shelter-in-place order, where they have a graph, right? And they got two lines. They got one where it goes really high, shows you, oh, this is how many people are going to get infected if no health measures are taken in place. And then they got another little line that's a little bit shorter and shallower saying, hey, we only get this many people infected if everybody follows the shelter-in-place orders and everybody wears a mask and everybody washes their hands. Look, we'll only get like a third of those people infected. And then you're like, all right, well, how did they get those numbers? How did they get like that graph? And you look at where we're at now. We're at the very beginning before it even takes off. It's like, all right, they have no fucking idea that that graph is actually accurate. That's their best guess based off mathematics that they're not explaining to us. And what I mean by that is they take the number of infected and then they put a hypothetical infection rate that they have not backed up with evidence yet, because they keep saying this virus infection rate is going to take off. And last time I checked, we're still not even at 2,000 deaths within this one country. We got like 30 deaths worldwide. But like I said, you're more likely to get shot in America than catch this fucking virus. So, yeah, it's no one does their research. They just go off what everybody else is saying. And I'm not saying like this is a big-ass conspiracy that everybody's part of. You can be a part of a conspiracy without even realizing it. You're a part of it by going along with what you're told and not questioning why you're doing it. Like, if someone told you, hey, there's this virus going around, throw this mask on, throw this hand sanitizer on, keep you safe, and you just do it without thinking. There was a lot of health officials at the very beginning of this pandemic saying, look, unless you're already sick, do not, I repeat, do not wear a face mask. It will not keep you safe because, one, originally they thought the virus was too small and that a face mask wouldn't stop it. Now I'm hearing contradicting evidence that it would stop it, and you're having those other health officials jumping in and putting their 2 cents in saying, no, they need to wear the mask. But originally, at the very beginning, we're having a bunch of them saying, do not wear it, it's not going to help. The only people that should be wearing it are people that are already sick. Counterpoint to that is, oh, well, now we're seeing that people are getting infected, but they're not showing symptoms. So it's kind of like you can carry the virus and show no symptoms for several days, which means you're infecting all these other people. My only point to that is, okay, well, you got to figure out how does this shit spread? And what we do know is that coronavirus is spread through water droplets in the air from your lungs, because this particular flu, and not just coronavirus, but even the normal flu, can cause respiratory illness, which is aka pneumonia and having trouble breathing. Mucus starts to develop in your lungs and people have shortness of breath and can't breathe. That's what SARS was, in the early 2000s. SARS, it was the severe acute respiratory syndrome or something like that. It was the same thing. And when you look up what the normal flu is, people don't die from the flu. They die from what the flu causes, which is bronchitis and other respiratory illnesses. So coronavirus is just like the normal flu, except the only difference is it's more contagious from what they're saying. All right. This is what we're being told. They're trying to make it seem like it's more deadly, but it's really not. It's literally killing people the same way the normal flu does, which is respiratory illness. Now, I know a lot of people want to put their 2 cents in and be like, well, the doctors know what the fuck they're talking about. Oh, the doctors, they've done their research and yada yada. But, oh my God, don't even get me started on modern day fucking doctors. These same doctors that are telling you to do all this have yet to promote any holistic measures against this virus. Like, there's so many holistic things you could do at home that you people, if they knew this on a mass scale, they wouldn't be freaking out like the way they are. Because literally your best defense from any illness, not just the fucking coronavirus, is boosting your immune system. Now, that sounds oversimplified, but literally, really, like, people don't stop to think that you have this built-in mechanism in your own body that fights off sicknesses. And the main reason Americans get so sick is because, one, the food industry. We have a fucking shitty American diet. Most of our food is shit. And I think most Americans are starting to realize that, yeah, our food plays a big part of our shitty health. But most people only kind of sort of know. I don't really practice it, all right? Like, if you don't go to the gym on a regular basis and you don't eat your vegetables and you don't go for walks and practice your breathing, of course, you're going to be an unhealthy person. In any sickness, not just coronavirus, but even the normal flu, normal cold, it's going to be more severe for those kind of people. Hence why it seems like there's more people getting infected in America than in China, where this shit started. And it's because I would say on average, Chinese people are probably a little bit healthier than Americans, all right? Not saying all those fucking wild animals they eat are fucking good for you, but the fact that they've been doing that for thousands of years and they don't have pandemics left and right would tell me that, yeah, their immune systems are probably stronger than ours, which is probably why they're not getting hit as bad as we are. Which also explains why right now, as we speak, Louisiana has the most cases in the country. It's the fastest growing number of cases in the country. Louisiana is spiking. And I looked it up. And one of the reasons why it's probably spiking is because out of all 50 states, Louisiana is dead last in overall health of its citizens. What that means is they take into consideration, the customs there, whether like it's common to have like soap in all the areas, the way their areas are set up, sewage, the whole 9 yards. Look at everything. Louisiana is literally the most unhealthy state in America, and it just so happens to be the one with the highest number of cases at the moment. Not the highest number, but like this, at the moment, it's the fastest growing number of cases. And it ties back to the health of the civilians in that area. So it's like, if you want to look at this epidemic at a very unbiased view, the only people in danger are people that are already at risk of other things. That's why they say it's mainly the elderly, because elderly are already, at the end of their life, their bodies have been fighting sicknesses their whole life. Their immune systems are already tanked. So when they get hit by this, of course they're at more risk. That's not all old people, though. All right. It's not only old people. When the virus started spreading in America, they started noticing that the age range started expanding. Younger people were getting it. So their first thought process was, oh my God, the virus has mutated and it's more deadly in America than it was in China. Oh my God. That was their first thought process, not stopping to consider that our citizens are just, on average, less healthy than Chinese citizens. They don't stop and consider that. And you can see how that play out in these different states. Like New York has, next to California, one of the densest metropolitan areas in the country. You got New York, and then you got California, you got Florida. Those are like the three main metropolitan areas where it's the dense most amount of people, all right? Just off top of your head, when these people, like, you go to these cities like Frisco and New York, like, if you're not in the touristy parts, the city looks fucking dirty, all right? And those people, that sounds kind of fucked up, but like, be honest, if you live in one of those cities, you're probably used to it. but it's not the cleanest fucking place, all right? You put that many people within that square mileage, all you people are eating, all you people are shitting, all you people are coughing on each other, all you people are living near each other. Like, it's just a breeding ground for disease. So it's kind of like they're not stopping and explaining to the public, like, look, rural areas where you guys are all spread out and you guys get plenty of fresh air, like, you guys are probably fine. All you dense city people, we don't want you freaking out and leaving the fucking state. So we're not going to tell you, hey, you're more at risk because all your neighbors are fucking living in the same building. They're not going to say that because they don't want people leaving. I was just reading that the National Guard is preventing people in New York from driving all the way to Florida to visit relatives. Like, they're trying to keep people in the city. Like, no, you can't leave. You got to stay here. If this isn't martial law, I don't know what the fuck is. All right. Because the National Guard's getting fuck involved. And I'm pretty sure here in California, for the next week or so, they're probably going to start enforcing it. Because I'm already hearing that cops in my own town are going store to store, and they're finding stores that are not closing down like they should, and they're forcibly closing them down, and they're pulling over people that they see driving around, and are asking them if they're going to work or not. Like, it's getting to the point of harassment, and people are okay with it. That's the part that pisses me off. There's so many people that are just kind of going with it, hoping that the government and these health officials and fucking these celebrities on Instagram will figure it out for them, and they're just going to go with the flow until then. And they're waiting on this stimulus package that the fucking government's getting ready that's going to give them what, like $1,200? But if you're out of work, you're literally get that check late. And if you make more than $1,200 a check, then you're not even going to get your full fucking check. And you're going to get it once. It's not even going to worry about your rent. Like, what the fuck? Like, people just are not stopping to really think about it. I think people are aware of the implications. They're just too scared to really face them and stand up and be like, no, this is ridiculous. Like, they just want the government to give them money. And they're just going to bitch and complain, hey, government, I'm out of work. Pay me. Instead of standing up and be like, no, government, this is fucking bullshit. Let me go back to work. I'm fucking fine. Even if I get sick, I'm going to take a shit ton of vitamin C. Then I'll be fucking fine. Like, God, like, no, like, everybody's just fucking going with it. It needs to fucking stop. It's ridiculous. Man, like, about to punch a fucking wall. Like, I'm not scared. I'm at the point where I'm going to start going to work with signs. Like, I'm literally going to go to work with these poster boards with statistics. I'm going to update them every day so everybody at work walks by them and sees all this shit I'm talking about right now. Like, your chances of dying driving to work are this percentage. Your chances of the coronavirus are this percentage. I'm going to do the math, all right? I don't got it off the top of my head, but I know it's a lot fucking lower because I've already done some, back of the fucking paper math on it. But it's not to, like, undermine all these people that are, well, maybe it is a little bit, but it's my little sort of rebellious way of saying fuck you to all the people that think they know better for the country and not really thinking about the long-term stuff. Let's say this virus really is as deadly as it is. It's hypothetically, I'm just going to go with this, extend an olive branch, right? Let's say the virus is as bad as they're saying it is. And they say maybe 1 million people will die. Okay, that sounds horrible, right? 1 million people, you don't want 1 million people dying. Well, that's the fucking case, then telling everybody stop driving cars. Because literally it's like 1.1 million people die a year in car accidents. But they don't tell you that when you buy a new car. Hey, go to the dealership. Hey, you want this new Honda SRV? Yeah. Before you buy it, you got to know that probably 1 million die this year are going to die in a car accident. Just so you know, yeah, they don't say that. But, yeah, let's say it's 1 million people. You know what's going to happen? People are starting getting immune to it. You ever heard that term, herd immunity? That's when a virus or a sickness gets passed around a herd. Yeah, the sick ones get picked off. But most of the herd population, whatever, survive. Like, this isn't the Black Plague, people. Yeah, this thing is pretty contagious, but it's less deadly than epidemics we've already faced. And the consequences of the economic downturn we're about to experience is going to be far worse. They keep justifying that they don't want the hospitals flooding with all these people being sick. Well, you know what? That's because they're not stopping and saying, people, if you have a sickness, don't go to the fucking hospital. Even in the good times and we're not being fucking overrun with coronavirus cases, you guys shouldn't be going to the hospital for a fucking cough, no matter what the fuck it is. Literally, the only time you should go to the hospital is if you fucking got in a car accident, you fucking cut yourself pretty deep, or you got in a serious injury. But if you're coughing, bitch, stay the fuck home. There's fucking herbs you can be taking. Take some oregano. Take some fucking vitamin C. Tough it the fuck out. You shouldn't be going to the fucking hospital for that anyways. That's what they should be fucking saying, but no, they don't want to say that because there's too many people making money off hospitals. And that's a whole nother fucking conversation, but man, it's like, they can avoid this whole situation if they had a fucking orange sale and they were selling oranges for cheap. All these fucking vegetables and fruit that are high in vitamin C, if they just started making those like half off and telling people to eat them, be fucking gravy, Instead of shutting down our economy, start having Starbucks and McDonald's do fucking orange smoothies or something, or a vitamin C shots of Jamba Juice, Like, literally, that's all you would fucking need, all right? And that's not me just bullshitting out my mouth. If you actually look it up, experts in China and America have both confirmed that if you take high doses of vitamin C, not the 100% daily value that they tell you to take on like the side of those fucking orange cartons, but like high dosage, like 400, 500% of your daily value. Which, by the way, those daily values on the side of those nutritional things need to be revised. Like, a lot of them are just outdated, and those percentages, you shouldn't even go off that, because that was back in the 70s and we didn't know half the shit we know now. But that's also another thing the FDA and our public health officials have failed to update us on, because if you do the newer research and the newer stuff we got, the values we change, they probably tell you to stop taking so much calcium, because calcium freaking makes your bones more dense, but also makes them more brittle. So all these old people that are taking these calcium tablets for their weak bones, that's not helping unless you take magnesium with it, all right? But they don't say that. They say only calcium, and they wonder why these fucking old people, all these brittle-ass bones. It's like little shit like that, all right? That's why I don't trust public health officials, because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't update themselves. They don't do none of that. They go to school, they get this preset education saying, all right, you know everything you need to know to be a doctor. All right, don't update your shit. Don't practice anything new, and just keep telling all your patients for the next 30 years all the stuff you learned right now. Because in the next 30 years, we're not going to find out anything new about your health, so yeah, don't worry about it. That's how doctors act. I'm sorry, but that's the fucking truth. I'm young, and I've literally avoided doctors my whole life, but only because my grandma is a diabetic. She's had different types of cancer. She's had a bajillion surgeries, and literally her entire life, doctors have told her contradicting fucking things about her body, I have relatives that go have these rare diseases, that go to these doctors that tell them one thing, they go to a specialist, they tell them another, and literally both pieces of advice are directly in opposition to each other. So who the fuck do you believe, right? So yeah, when they say public health officials advise this, well, tell them to suck a dick, because I really don't trust them. Not all of them are bad, but the ones that know their shit, like know what they're talking about, are literally discredited because they're not going with the crowd. They're not going with the flow. They're not regurgitating what they're told to be saying. So I'm sorry, folks. Like, if I offended you, I don't give a fuck. All right, I really don't. I'm just, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Ugh. I've been like just talking my coworkers' ears off about this. Every time one of them bring it up, like, oh my God, it's getting bad. I don't even know how to respond, because I literally want to laugh at them. Like, really? Like, you're really fucking scared? Like, you literally drove to work today. You've literally run the gauntlet and gambled your life on the table, just driving here to work, and you're afraid of this fucking coronavirus. I don't know. To be fair, though, one of the highest amount of cases in the country is in the Bay Area, and people I work with drive from the Bay Area to where I work. So they're in the shit, all right? They're in, those counties that closed down before the state did as a whole. So they've been playing into this fear thing, all right? And a lot of these people, to be fair, also are older, and they've been brainwashed to just do what they're told, all right? It's this younger generation that's, I feel, is not speaking up enough, but some of them are. And I don't know, that's just where we're at right now, but I don't know. I could just keep talking about this, and this is probably one of my longest episodes, and I've literally talked about nothing except this damn coronavirus. So, I don't know. It's just, I just need to get off my chest. What I'm doing for this whole thing is I refused to stock up on supplies until I went to go for my normal stuff, and they were out of everything. I'm on my last fucking thing of toilet paper, so honestly, our biggest fucking threat right now is not this tiny little fucking speck of a virus. It's fear. And it's fear affecting society as a whole, and people are not thinking rationally, right? They're going along with martial law and not questioning it. It's like, if our fucking forefathers were looking at how we're reacting now, they'd be fucking ashamed. And I'm not taking that back. They would be. They would be ashamed. You know, yeah. I feel very strongly about this, and the more and more people give into the fear, the more I'm doubling down, trying to educate people. Like, no, you shouldn't be scared. Don't give into it. It's all bullshit. That's what I want to say to people, but I just get the strangest of reactions when I do this face to face. When I say this stuff face to face, people are polite, but I could tell I offended them. I think I offended their intelligence is what it was, because I'm coming off like I know everything, and I get it. When I get in these moods, it kind of give like a kind of know-it-all attitude, which, I don't know everything, people. I don't. But I know enough to call bullshit. All right? I don't need to know everything. I just need to know enough to call bullshit. And I'm calling bullshit in all of the measures they're taking to prevent this pandemic. And it's not even a real pandemic. Like, the numbers still don't justify calling it a pandemic. If this is a pandemic, then the influenza is a yearly annual pandemic. I don't know what's going on in Italy. Why the fuck they have so many people dying off, but maybe it has to do with there are a shit ton of old people. Their sewers are shit. They're like hundreds of years old. They probably got asbestos and everything all in those old ass houses, and all these people are on the brink of death anyways. Like, no one stops to consider that shit. They just assume that, Italy had so many people dying one day. Oh, this is the horriblest thing ever. It's like, look, have you walked around Italy? I bet you if you talk to people there, the buildings are old, sewage is old. They're probably not up to date on the sanitary stuff. It's probably just dirtier in general, and the people have weaker immune systems. Like, I know that sounds like I'm oversimplifying it, but really, no one's actually looking into that. So how the fuck can I say I'm wrong? No one's disproving that. No one's disproving that. No one's even mentioning it. That's the reason why I'm upset, because no one's even stopping to talk about that. It'd be different if that some legit unbiased researcher went in and tried looking at all these numbers and was just like, hey, there's actually a correlation between how healthy that society is versus how many fucking, deaths they have, versus like Japan. Japan's right next to China, yet, and they also have one of the highest percentage of old people in the world. They're the oldest living society because they're, on average, their citizens live longer than anywhere else. Has to do with the diet, has to do with the lifestyle. And they're right next to China, and yet they have less deaths. They have less, infections, all right? And it has a lot to do with the people, all right? And especially Tokyo, they live fucking super dense too, just like in New York and fucking LA. But yet they're not nearly as bad. It's because their people are healthier. They're not pointing that out. You're not even going to hear Japan mentioned in the news. And I talk about Italy, with all those old, those old motherfuckers that don't wash their hands, kissing each other's faces. In Europe, they like literally, it's just normal to walk up and kiss each other on the face. They're not stopping to think that they were still doing that when the virus is young and they infected everybody. just by fucking here in America, they'll shake hands usually, but as long as you wash your hands before you touch your face, you're fine. Like you're fucked if you're in Europe when that shit took off and everybody's kissing your fucking face. You don't even gotta touch. Like it's already you're fucked. You know they put it on you. Like here you go. Yeah, here's a virus. Like no one's stopping to look at it like that. I don't know. I know I might sound like a fucking arrogant asshole who doesn't know what he's talking about. Unqualified dude that doesn't know what he's talking about. But all I can say is my instinct and my bullshit meter is firing off, and I am not going to shut up until this thing's over. Because mark my words, the economic rebound that we're going to try to hit, like when shelter in place orders go away and the virus cases die down and it's not in the news anymore, which, you know, it'll probably happen right before the election. Yeah, when I stop talking about it, you'll see that the economy will be the next big thing on their list to scare people with. They're going to talk about the next Great Depression. They're going to talk about all the people that are unemployed. They're projecting that after all this is said and done and the shelter-in-place orders go away, they are literally going to... They think unemployment can reach 20%, which is what unemployment was at during the Great Depression. So, mark my words, the next big thing is going to be the economy, and it's going to dwarf anything we're dealing with now. So, I'm going to end it there. There's enough food for thought. I wasn't trying, like... I sound really upset, and it's really starting to fucking bug me. Like, I don't know. I wish I could just take a bullhorn, go to the toppest, highest place in the world and shout, telling everybody to calm the fuck down, but I can only do so much, so I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna take a break, calm myself down. Maybe in my next episode I won't be so hyped up, but I just wanted to get that out there and realize that not everybody is freaking out, and there are people looking into this. Like, there are people doing legit unbiased research into how deadly this really is and whether or not all these actions the government's taking is justified. And I'm one of the people in the camp that says it isn't. So, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe my tune will change when, you know, I catch it or something. I don't know. Like, we'll see. We'll see. But I'll let y'all in there. It's my longest episode ever. I have a lot to say. So, catch you next time.